Schiller Indices report for April was just put out, and it's showing that San Diego's home price gains have slowed down, even approached negative territory.
Well, this marks a major shift from this time last year. Joining us now to talk more about this, we have Jim Bottrell, the founder of the Jim Bottrell Real Estate Team. And we want to thank you for being here, first of all.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nice studio.
Yes.
Nice studio.
Yes.
I love it.
Welcome. So talk to us about, so San Diego, it looks just like the market is cooling down. Quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at the numbers. So we went from leading the nation's home prices gains last year, dropping down to the 15th out of 20 major U.S. cities this year. What in the world happened?
Well, it's a nationwide slowdown. So what they're talking about is the rate of appreciation. How fast is each market going up? So San Diego seems to be slowing down more than the others. But we're still #1 in price. We got that. $990,000.
Oh, boy.
So what shows is the last year, San Diego's appreciated just over 1%, but the previous year we were at 10.3. So one of the things you want to remember about real estate is it goes up and down. So historically over the last 38 years, real estate in California has gone up 6.77% per year on average. And that includes the great crash that we had, right? Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, sometimes way more, and then sometimes it dips into the negative territory. So we're just seeing that is all that's happening.
So who is this good for, and then who is it bad for?
Well, I mean, if prices go down, it's going to give a little bit of a relief to buyers out there. They're going to see a little bit of a relief. They'll see a lot of relief if interest rates come down. But then, so we're seeing a little bit of a market correction right now. So corrections are common. And they happen all the time. They're in, they're out. I think we're probably looking at about a 10% decline, maybe. Unless interest rates come down, it's going to snap back like that. So as we see a 10% decline, remember, they're very short-lived. So, for example, most people don't realize that in June to December of 2022, housing prices went down 15% right here in San Diego County. But nobody remembers that. The reason they don't remember that is because between January and June of 2023, just the next 6 months, housing prices went up 15%. So they forget. So corrections are not the end of the world. Sky's not falling. They just do this all the time. They tend to be short-lived.
So this is a healthy market, is what you're saying?
Yeah, overall it's a healthy market. We are seeing a lot more sellers. Now, buyer enthusiasm is down right now because we have a new $1 million sale price.
Yes.
We have interest rates right around 7 is what I'm seeing. And we have some economic uncertainty. So the buyer enthusiasm is down right now. And what's interesting is that seller enthusiasm is up right now. We're starting to see a lot more houses on the market. So that helps a little bit. With a lot more houses on the market, bigger inventory, longer time on market, I'm seeing people make price reductions. I'm seeing houses not sell at all. I am seeing, for the first time in a couple of years, I am seeing during the negotiations, buyers sticking their heels in the sand and actually winning the negotiation against the seller. I haven't seen that in a couple of years. So those are all things. I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years. I know all these indicators. These are indicators of a market correction that's happening.
So should you still sit on the sidelines, though, if you're wanting to sell at this point, you think?
If you want to sell or you want to buy?
No, you want to sell.
Okay, so let's say you're a seller. This is a great question. Thank you for asking it. So let's say you're a seller that's on the market right now. Now, if you're a seller, there's only one way to lose money in real estate is if you decide to sell intentionally into a bad market, right? All right, so if you're a seller that's on the market right now, which is a lot of people right now, there's a few things that you need to do. You need to understand the market's shifted. All right, so if you put your house on the market, let's say 6 months ago, all right, you were probably the only person in your community that moved. But now you're competing against 6, 10, 12 other people. So you need to understand you need to go look at all of those other houses. That's your competition now. And now you also have to understand that when a buyer comes in the market, they're not going to look just at your house. Maybe your house that brought them into that community, but they're going to look at every one of them, and they're going to buy the best house for the money. So as a seller, don't think that you can't be beaten by an inferior house. You absolutely can, because they're not going to buy the best house. They can buy the best house for the money. Now, we also have a new thing that's, well, it's not new, but it's a lot more prevalent, is distressed sales. So we have a lot of those. I'm a storyteller. So let's say you have your house for sale, and 4 doors down you have a house that's also for sale, and neither one of them is inferior or superior to the other. They're equals, except they have a financial distress situation. They're getting divorced or something like that. They will accept a lower sale price for their house than you will accept for yours this month. All right, now, my advice to the sellers right now, do whatever you need to do to win the next buyer that comes into the market, because if one of those inferior houses is the best house for the money, lower price, or one of those distressed sales sells, that sale now becomes the most recent and most relevant comparable, and guess what? That's the new value of your house. So if you have to get aggressive with your price, get aggressive with it before one of your neighbors does it for you.
Sure. So this also tells me if you're in the market to buy a home, it sounds like it's more of a buyer's market right now.
It is definitely
Yes.
shifting to a buyer's market.
Okay.
We're seeing the leading indicators of that. Now again, if interest rates go down, everything changes, turns back to seller's market, price competition going up. So that goes into the buyer side. So let's do about that. One of my favorite sayings is don't wait to buy real estate. You buy real estate and then you wait. Right? Don't be day trading market real estate, and you can't time the market. So if we go back to January through June of 2023, when housing prices were coming up that 15%, if you waited until media, Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Newsweek, Union Tribune said, "Hey, market bottom's time to okay," that didn't happen until the end of April. 12 or 13% of that 15 had already happened. So you can't time the market. And then also remember, time fixes everything in real estate. The longer you own a house, the more time fixes it. And what I like to do, again, being a storyteller, I have my own personal example, which will really drive the point home. Back in the early 2000s, I bought my very first rental property. Paid $312,000 for it. I know, go ahead and laugh. Paid $312,000 for it, had a loan about $300,000, and then the crash happened, and that house was suddenly worth $180,000. Think about it. I paid $312,000 and suddenly worth $180,000. However, I signed that promissory note saying I'm going to pay it back. So I didn't short sell the house. I didn't foreclose it. I signed it. It means something to me. I still own that property today. That house is now worth over $900,000.
Oh, let's go.
Nice.
So do you think that I care that at one point in time was only worth $180,000? No, it doesn't matter. Time fixes everything. So don't try and time a market. There's people also out there waiting for interest rates to come down. In my team, we run into this almost on the daily, where somebody says, well, if I can get a 5.5% interest rate, then I'll buy. Yeah, you and 6 million other people buyed. All right, that's the way that works. So everybody's going to flood the market at the same time, and then all of a sudden bidding wars are back, prices go up. So what I say is, my suggestion is don't try and time the market. Buy today, because it's cheaper than it will be at 5.5 when the interest rates are 5.5. Buy today at today's price and today's interest rate. You marry the house, you date the rate. All right, so yes, you like us, you date the rate. When a better rate comes along, you ditch the old one and you get a new one. That's dating, right? All right, so you can get the house at today's price. I have jokes too, right? Yeah. You can get the house at today's price, but then you can also get tomorrow's lower payment by just refinancing into that lower payment. Right. And that's my advice for everybody.
Thank you.
Listen, Jim, I might have just given you the entire hour.
Exactly.
We can do it.
We do thank you for your advice, and we'll probably have you back on.
Absolutely.
Probably in the
Thank you
next
so
few months
much.
to see how it's looking.
All right.
Thank you
Love
so
your
much.
stories.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you much, Jim. And also, we'll be back in a moment.